At a time when feelings are at an all-time high and secrets are being revealed, the drama in Port Charles reaches a point where it is about to boil over. While Willow Tate is having a difficult time coming to terms with a number of heartbreaking realities, she finds herself at a crossroads in her journey. She finds peace in the person who no one would have imagined, and she accomplishes this by turning the tables on relationships and alliances in a way that leaves everyone startled. This is despite the fact that her life is coming apart right before her eyes. Revealed information that is absolutely bombshell. At the Quartermaine estate, where a dynamic conflict is taking place, the reveal of the secrets takes place in the midst of the conflict. Carly Corinthos, who is adamant about protecting the people she loves ultimately reveals the truth about Nina Reeves' role in the events that led to Willow's illness and the intricate dynamics that exist among their family of origin, despite the fact that she is adamant about protecting the people she cares about. Having this information is like having a blade with two edges when it comes to Willow. Although it shows the betrayal of those persons that Nina believed she could trust, it also reveals the extent to which Nina intervened and manipulated others. On the one hand, it reveals the degree to which Nina did so. The decision that Carly made to keep the truth about Nina a secret for such a significant amount of time adds an additional layer of betrayal to a scenario that was already in a hazardous position. Willow utters the words, "Everyone keeps making choices for me," while her voice shakes with a mixture of anger and despair. Everyone keeps making choices with me. At what point will I be able to have a say in it? Errors that Michael has committed. Michael Corinthos makes a significant mistake in the aftermath of the discovery, despite the fact that he had been unflinching in his support of Willow during her illness. This blunder has a significant impact. Michael's personal hatred toward Nina and Carly is the reason why he is more concerned with getting revenge than he is with satisfying Willow's emotional need. This is because Michael feels that he has a right to do so. "You don't have to deal with them anymore," Michael adds as he makes an effort to shield her. "You don't have to deal with them anymore. I will make sure that Nina is penalized for what she has done." Willow, on the other hand, recognizes Michael's response as yet another incident in which her autonomy is being rejected without consideration. "It is not about getting even with you, Michael. This is not about that. My life in general, and the manner that I move forward with my life are all relevant elements. You didn't seem to notice that, did you?" Because Michael did not make an effort to meet Willow where she is emotionally, a rift has developed between them, and as a result, Willow is experiencing a level of loneliness that she has never experienced before. It was Nina's request that Nina, on the other hand, is exerting every effort possible to preserve the relationship she shares with Willow that she has had. In spite of the unpleasant realities that have been brought to light, Nina is unwavering in her determination to find evidence that demonstrates that her intentions were not entirely nefarious. As she approaches Willow at the gatehouse, she does so with the intention of identifying some places in which the two of them have common ground. In the next part of her statement, Nina adds, "I am aware that I have made mistakes." Her tone of voice is heavy with the emotion of passion. On the other hand, "I promise you, Willow, that I had no intention of any of this happening. I can assure you of that. I wanted nothing more than to be a part of your life. That was all I wanted." Willow responds with a response that is cold and calculated at the same time. "Please understand that you are no longer in a position to make that decision, Nina. There is a chance that I will be able to forgive you in the future. Nevertheless, for the time being, I simply require some space to collect my thoughts." Nina has been rendered inconsolable as a result of the chat. Nonetheless, she is not yet ready to give up on the situation. While she is leaving, she makes a serious commitment to herself that she will find a different way to make right with Willow, someone who came out of the blue as a friend. When Willow is experiencing feelings of betrayal from Carly, anger from Michael, and being overpowered by Nina's constant attempts to connect with her, she finds herself turning to someone she did not anticipate, Valentine Cassadine. They meet one another at the hospital, where Valentine is paying Anna Devane a visit. This is where they first come into contact with one another. As soon as Valentine became aware of the agony that was visible in Willow's eyes, he went up to her and showed her a tenderness that was quite out of character for him. "It seems as though you could benefit from having someone to talk to," he says, his tone being nice without being invasive. "It seems as though you could benefit." At first, Willow is reluctant to move on with the process. However, she finds that Valentine's calm demeanor and his own background of dealing with challenging family problems strike a chord with her. She thinks that this is something that she can relate to. In spite of her initial hesitancy, she makes the decision to sit down with him today. A relationship that was not anticipated. While they are enjoying coffee at Perks, Willow reveals something to Valentine that she has never done before with anybody else. This is something that she has never done before. During the course of her chat, she talks about the difficulties she encounters when it comes to trusting other people, the need for independence, and the weight of the revelations that have entirely transformed her life. Valentine is providing insights that are both shocking and calming at the same time that he is actively listening to what is being said as well. He has been quoted as saying that family can be complicated. "Have faith in me, I am well aware of this. However, there are times when the people we least expect to be the ones who wind up being the ones who help us better understand things are the ones who end up being the ones who do so." Willow is able to take a deep breath of fresh air thanks to the perspective that Valentine brings to the table. In contrast to Michael and Nina, he does not make any attempt to force his will on her regarding how she ought to feel or what kinds of things she ought to do. On the contrary, he stresses the significance of her focusing her attention on the things that she truly desires for herself and her children. Port Charles residents who are opposed to the decision. There is a rapid dissemination of the information that Willow is building a deeper relationship with Valentine, and the news does not sit well with everyone at the moment. One of the things that makes Michael particularly angry is the fact that he views Valentine as a potential threat. In the gatehouse, Michael approaches Willow and tells her, "You can't seriously trust him." Willow is dismayed by Michael's statement. His birth name is Willow, and he is a Cassadine. He poses a threat. On the other hand, Willow is considered to be stiff. Perhaps he is, but at this very moment, he is the only person who is actually making an effort to listen to me, rather than telling me what to do. Nina has also been left in a state of bewilderment as a result of the alliance. When she approaches Valentine, she makes it clear that she is interested in learning about his objectives. "Vincent, what exactly are you trying to accomplish with this endeavor? Is this one of your plans in addition to the others that you have?" In spite of Nina's bait, Valentine does not exhibit any indications of panic and does not respond to her requests. Willow enjoys the right to make her own choices, Nina, and she should be allowed to do so. If you cared about her, you would grant her permission to do certain things. One of the most significant moments in Willow's life. Willow comes to the realization that she has arrived at a very significant crossroads in her life as the dust begins to settle. She has been able to acquire the clarity that she needs in order to start making decisions for herself, thanks to the direction that Valentine has directed her toward. She begins by establishing boundaries with Michael, Nina, and Carly, making it abundantly clear that her recovery process would be carried out in accordance with her own terms. This is the first thing that she does. Willow makes the following statement as the Quartermain family is gathered at the mansion. "Perhaps I will be able to forgive you all at some point in the future. However, at this very moment, I need to figure out who I am without any of you trying to control the narrative," she replied in response. Not only does her suddenly discovered resolve amaze everyone, but it also earns her newfound respect from those around her. Willow is experiencing a sense of empowerment for the very first time in a very long time. This is a really significant moment for Willow. Rick Lansing and Isaiah, two complex characters with equally entangled histories, find themselves at a crossroads this week, which brings about an unanticipated shakeup in the town of Port Charles. It is not uncommon for Port Charles to be the subject of mystery, but this week brings about an unexpected upheaval. At the same time that new prospects come into existence, they bring with them the possibility of atonement as well as the possibility of disaster. The preparations for Rick Lansing's redemption to take place. A lawyer named Rick Lansing, who has a history of getting into trouble and a tendency to flout the rules, is currently in the position of being presented with a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to repair his reputation. Over the course of a lengthy amount of time, the name Rick has been linked to dishonest schemes and behaviors that involve manipulation. On the other hand, a high-profile pro bono case has recently been brought to his attention, which presents him with the opportunity to rewrite the history of his professional career. In this particular instance, a young mother by the name of Elena Hart is being falsely accused of stealing money from the charitable organization for which she works. Elena, who is in a bad predicament and does not have any money to defend herself against the charges, seeks assistance from Alexis Davis, who then suggests Rick. Rick is the person that Elena should be defending herself against. During a tough meeting that takes place at Alex's place of employment, she imparts the following advice to him. "You need this as much as she does." This is not only for the aim of rescuing Elena, rather, it is for the purpose of proving to yourself that you are still capable of behaving in a moral manner. Rick is holding back a little bit, because the shadow of his past looms large within him. He is unsure as to whether he is prepared or capable of performing the part of the hero. He is dubious about his ability to perform well. On the other hand, as he makes his way through Elena's story, he starts to get a glimpse of something that is completely foreign to him: the desire to truly make a difference in the world. This is the unanticipated offer that Isaiah made. Isaiah, a man who is relatively new to Port Charles and who has a historical background that is shrouded in mystery, finds himself at a crossroads of his own while everything else is going on. When Curtis Ashford approaches Isaiah with a proposition that has the potential to dramatically revolutionize his life, Isaiah has been traveling around and working odd jobs for a number of months at that point. Curtis, who is still suffering from the aftermath of the nightclub disaster he encountered, extends an offer of work to Isaiah in the management department of the Savoy. Isaiah immediately accepts the offer. When Curtis continues by saying, "You've got the charm, the hustle, and the instincts I need to turn this place around," he says it with a tone that is equal parts hopeful and exhausted. What remark do you have? Although Isaiah is flattered, he is worried about the situation. If he were to accept the offer, which would involve committing to a new life in Port Charles, it would be a big shift from the tranquil and wandering lifestyle he has been leading up to this point. Taking this step would require him to emerge from the shadows and expose himself to the risk of revealing the truths that he has labored so diligently to conceal. This is the most important facet of the circumstance that we are dealing with. Isaiah answers Curtis's offer in a voice that is tinged with uncertainty. I appreciate the offer. Curtis's offer is received with gratitude. But I'm not entirely certain that I'm the right person for the job. Curtis, on the other hand, is not the kind of person who allows no to be an acceptable response. Give it some consideration. At this moment forward, you have nothing to lose and everything to gain. You have nothing to lose. The coming together of two. At a later point in the evening, the stories of Rick and Isaiah meet together at the Savoy, as fate would have it. Rick stops by for a drink with the goal of diverting his focus away from the personal uncertainties he is experiencing in relation to the Elena Hart case. Isaiah is currently working a fill-in shift behind the bar, where he is contemplating the offer that Curtis has offered to him. The two men start a conversation, which is marked by their mutual skepticism over the future, and this leads to the formation of an unforeseen relationship between them. Whenever you do something, do you ever have the impression that people's impressions of you are always bad, regardless of what you accomplish? Rick asks him this question while he is swilling his drink. Isaiah's laughter is accompanied by a hint of bitterness, which can be heard in the tone of his voice. Each and every new day. On the other hand, you have two choices. Either you can let it define you, or you can choose to show them why they are wrong. Rick gives Isaiah's openness an inquisitive look and raises an eyebrow in response to what he sees. And how do you decide which one to go with? A sneer appears on Isaiah's face. To this day, I have not yet figured out what it is. Are you? The same. Rick makes a concession. Both guys are left with a great deal of things to contemplate as a consequence of the conversation that they had. The clear perspective that Isaiah holds acts as a source of inspiration for Rick, who begins to regard the Elena Hart case as more than just a legal matter. Rather, it is a personal turning point. Isaiah's perspective serves as a source of inspiration for Rick. Curtis's offer, on the other hand, is beginning to be seen by Isaiah as an opportunity to develop something substantial, even if it requires him to address his past events. There is a transformation in Rick's predicament. In the morning of the following day, Rick promptly begins his inquiry into the Hart case. In the course of his preliminary investigation, he discovers a paper trail that indicates that a member of the company board is the individual who is accountable for the commission of the crime. Nevertheless, due to the fact that this board member holds enormous connections that, if handled improperly, have the potential to knock both Rick and Elena to their knees, uncovering the truth will not be an easy task. Rick's issue was brought to Alex's attention, and she immediately volunteered her support. You don't have to go through this by yourself, so don't worry about it. I promise to back you up in each and every way that I can. On the other hand, Rick, who is determined to prove his worth, is adamant about taking the initiative. You have my gratitude, Alexis. Having said that, I am the one who is responsible for completing this task on my own. As Rick is getting ready for a confrontation in the courtroom, he comes to the realization that this case is not merely about Elena. Rather, it is a test of his ability to rise above his own failings and fight for justice. This realization occurs during the time that Rick is working on getting ready for the encounter. A determination made by Isaiah. According to the Savoy, Isaiah is having a difficult time deciding what course of action to take. Despite the way that the lure of stable work and a place to belong is enticing, he is hesitant to make the move because he is worried that his past may catch up with him. This is despite the fact that he desires to make the move. Stella Henry is the one who plays a significant role in facilitating his decision-making process in the end. As there is a lull in the action in the bar, Stella makes a remark to Isaiah saying, "You have a good heart." In this day and age, it is not easy to come across an individual who possesses a decent heart. The fact is not lost on Curtis. I am able to observe it. At this very now, all that is required of you is to observe it for yourself. After being moved by her words, Isaiah comes to the conclusion that he should accept Curtis' offer. This decision is a direct outcome of her words. It is with a renewed sense of purpose that he considers the Savoy as something that is more than just a nightclub. It has the potential to become a center for community and second chances, similar to the one that is being offered to him. Both of these men are about to enter a brand new era. A number of crucial moments take place for both Rick and Isaiah as the episode draws to a close. These occurrences are noteworthy for multiple reasons. An impassioned case is presented by Rick in the courtroom, which ultimately leads to the identification of the person who stole the money and clears Alina's name. Upon hearing that the judge has dismissed the claims that have been presented against Alina, she bursts into tears all over herself. She wants Rick to know how much she appreciates his willingness to believe in her when no one else was willing to do so. From Rick's point of view, the victory is not only a professional achievement, rather, it is a deeply personal achievement. At the Savoy, where the evening is filled with a lot of activity, Isaiah takes the stage to announce that he will be taking over the role of manager. The first time in a very long time that Isaiah feels a sense of belonging is also the first time that his vision for the nightclub acts as a source of inspiration for the crowd. The following is a transcript of what Isaiah says to Curtis after the event. "I don't know what the future holds. However, I am looking forward to finding out for the very first time, which is something that has taken me by surprise, becoming increasingly unable to make a decision as the time draws nearer for him to make a choice." Sam McCall is the one who informs Sonny of Lucky's position, and Sonny is fully aware of the potentially disastrous outcomes that could occur as a result of a lack of judgment. In Sonny's opinion, doing the right thing frequently comes with a high price, but he considers this to be a price that is well worth paying. He believes that doing the right thing is always worth it. In light of the fact that the stakes are so high, Sonny comes to the conclusion that it is time for him to intervene. This is how Sonny does things. When it comes to Lucky, Sonny confronts him with the same level of passion that he reserves for topics that are of the utmost importance. At Charlie's pub, where Sonny finally gets the chance to meet Lucky, he does not waste any time getting beyond the initial niceties that are exchanged between them. "You can't keep running away from this," Sonny warns Lucky in a tone that is low and commanding. "You can't keep running into this. The thing that you are keeping to yourself is consuming you completely. You are completely devoured by it. Do you think that you are doing those folks any favors by doing what you are doing?" Lucky, who is obviously anxious, turns his face towards Sonny while maintaining a rebellious attitude on his face. "You have no notion what is at stake in this circumstance, Sonny. You have no idea. In this situation, there is no battle for you." Sonny's voice takes on a more soothing tone, yet he maintains his strong manner throughout the conversation. "You are absolutely right, but I am not going to fight for it. Having said that, you are free to keep it. As a result of your failure to take action, you are going to lose something that is significantly more important than what you currently believe you are going to lose. Believe me when I say that I visited the location." The words struck Lucky with a greater power than he would want to confess, but he was struck nonetheless. There is no doubting the fact that Sonny's advice is pretty sound, despite the fact that it is probable that his reputation as a leader in the criminal underworld preceded him. Despite this, Lucky's uncertainty stems from the anguish that he experiences on the inside. a study of the loyalties of individuals. While everything is going on, the consequences of Lucky's predicament are being felt throughout the entirety of Port Charles because of the situation. As a result of Elizabeth Webber's observation of Lucky's recent peculiar behavior, she is getting increasingly concerned about the current scenario. In spite of the fact that she is conscious of the fact that something is wrong, she is unable to identify the specific issue that is preventing her from moving forward. Elizabeth confides in Jason Morgan in an effort to gather information, and Jason Morgan then decides to observe Sunny's meeting with Lucky while the meeting is taking place. Emily's goal is to obtain information. The presence of Jason serves as both a source of solace and a note of caution to those who are in the immediate neighborhood. In the event that Lucky's secret poses a threat to Sunny's organization or to the well-being of persons who are significant to Sunny, Jason will not hesitate to take action and will not give it a second thought. It is becoming increasingly clear that the three men are experiencing a great deal of tension as the conversation continues to progress. Have you ever considered the possibility that you are the only person who is carrying a burden? Sunny asks with a tone that is becoming more inquisitive. Each day, the choices I've made continue to be a source of mental anguish for me. Accepting responsibility for them, on the other hand, is the only way to begin moving on. It is possible to observe the look of irritation that appears on Lucky's face as he shakes his head. Sunny, it is not as simple as you imagine it to be like. It is possible that this secret will result in the loss of lives. The extended period of stillness is finally broken by Jason, who talks with a tone that is cold and methodical. Alternately, it might be able to save them. To what extent are you making an effort to protect the lives of other individuals on this planet? The words of Elizabeth, which are revealed. Elizabeth makes a finding that puts the pieces of the puzzle together. And it happens to be during the time when Sunny is working to find a solution for Lucky. While she is at the hospital, where she is going through old things, she stumbles across a letter that Lucky had written but never sent. She finds it while she is going through old things. The contents provide a look into the secret that Lucky is holding about himself, despite the fact that they do not give a complete picture. After Elizabeth has come to terms with the implications of what she has learned, she immediately goes to Laura Collins, Lucky's mother, in order to gain guidance. Together, they are able to piece together a potentially problematic story that shines new light on Lucky's hesitancy. This is made possible via their collaborative efforts. "This isn't just about protecting someone," Laura exclaims, and she is absolutely correct in her assessment. Lucky is having a difficult time developing his own sense of what behavior is appropriate and inappropriate. The fact that he does not make the same mistakes that his father did is something that is very significant to him. Despite the fact that Elizabeth's heart is breaking for Lucky, she is becoming increasingly frustrated. At the same time, she is conscious of the fact that whatever it is that he is keeping hidden might potentially have catastrophic consequences if it is not eventually dealt with. She makes her way to Charlie's pub, where Sunny and Lucky are still in the middle of their emotionally heated debate, with the intention of being of aid to him. A moment of comprehension in a moment. An alteration in the energy that is present in the room is brought about by the presence of Elizabeth. Not only for Lucky, but for everyone involved in the event, this serves as a striking reminder of what is at risk in the aforementioned scenario. Because she is there, it serves as a reminder. Elizabeth begs, "Lucky, you have to stop doing this to yourself," and her voice shakes with the intensity of her feelings. "You have to stop doing this to yourself. The thing that you are attempting to defend is not something that is worth ruining yourself over, regardless of what it is. Grant us the opportunity to be of service to you." Lucky's resolve begins to deteriorate as a direct result of Elizabeth's words, and it eventually comes to an end. There is a brief duration during which his vulnerability is brought to light, and he seeks to Sunny for guidance at this time. What would happen if doing the right thing made everything even more difficult to deal with? Lucky asks the question in a voice that is hardly heard above a whisper for the most part. As he draws himself forward, Sunny's expression displays a blend of compassion and determination. He is determined to succeed. On rare occasions, it does take place. However, what about the embarrassment of accomplishing absolutely nothing at all? Even worse than that is the fact that your faith in the fact that the people who love you will always be there for you is something that you must have in spite of all that may occur. The choice is up to you. Finally, but certainly not least, Lucky comes to a conclusion after what seems like an interminable amount of time has passed. After taking a very deep breath, he gives a slight nod, which is an indication that he is willing to face the truth about the issue. It is with a voice that is calm, but filled with dread that he says, "I'll do it," an expression that is solid. On the other hand, Sunny, I expect to require your support. Every single one of you in particular. While placing a reassuring hand on Lucky's shoulder, Sunny expresses his understanding and support. They assure you that they have your back. At this point, let's make things what they should be. Following the completion of the episode, viewers are left with a sense of anticipation, ready to learn the full extent of Lucky's secret and the ramifications that come from his behavior at the conclusion of the episode. When the camera pans to show Elizabeth, Jason, and Sunny exchanging knowing glances with one another, it is plainly clear that the road that lies ahead will not be an easy one. This is demonstrated by the fact that the path will not be an easy one.